to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
So what you've been watching, you've seen a little bit of action going on where I'm doing the body work on our Mustang. I did find rust in it. I found more rust. I actually found some rust in that door over there I got to fix. But it's moving along now. I want to go ahead and explain this situation here. Of course, this is full of little dents. I got to fix it. I got to use my dent puller to pull it out. But this is a very good example of what epoxy primer is for. Does that make any sense? Epoxy primer is not a sandable primer. Epoxy primer is a sealer. This car was sandblasted, and I'm going to say that again, sandblasted 8.5 years ago. It sat outside for 7.5 years in the backyard of my shop in Dallas, and it was in epoxy primer. You just saw me remove it. I want you to look at this metal, and I want you to see how fresh and brand new that looks by using the epoxy primer as a sealer to protect your metal. And you can see right there, look how clean that is. Remember, this was sandblasted 8.5 years ago, and then we DA sanded it with 80 grit and then put it in epoxy primer. I finished the floor and the front end parts on this car. The owner ran out of money. He had situations arise. The car sat out in the back of my shop for approximately 7 years, and you can see this is the original part of the quarter panel. That's the new one. So kind of take a look here, and you can see the metal on this thing is like brand spanking new. So it's always important to restore a car when you're doing to this magnitude. If you have it sandblasted or you strip it down to bare metal or whatever you do, to always put it in epoxy primer. Okay, so what we got on this rear tail panel, I'm really actually surprised that this is any good. Actually, it's in very good shape. This is the original tail panel. One of the panels we didn't replace, so we're going to start over here And there's a small imperfection right here that we need to get out. Let's go ahead and get our grinder out and prep it up. And one more thing, when you're restoring these cars, you got to remember that this is all hidden. You're not even going to see this area in here. First of all, you got your tail light extension that goes right here, and then the tail light itself goes right here. So all this is hidden in here, and you're not even going to see it. We will take some factory seam sealer, and we got to seam seal this area right here to keep moisture and water out. And this is from the factory right here. It had this big gap, and the only thing they did with that is they seam sealed that in. They really didn't do anything whatsoever to spot weld that on there or do anything. I mean, that's how it was from the factory. And if you look right there, you can see what I'm talking about. Now, if we take a hammer and dolly and we hammer that down, what that's going to do, that's going to deteriorate where the factory line is once we put our quarter panel extension on. So we can't mess with that, we can't deteriorate it, we can't pound it or anything. It's best to leave it alone. Once you get the tail light extension or the quarter panel extension piece on here, that will all mold in and be covered. As far as the little imperfections, we're going to go ahead and fix those. I see right here where this is dented in, so we're going to go ahead and fix that real quick. And all we're going to do to fix that, we're going to take a hand dolly and our hammer, and then we will, okay, hold on, there's something in the way here. All right, it's the wire tab. Okay, so, and then what we'll do is we'll just get that back out to where it's supposed to be. And then take the tab first. There's actually a lip right here. And then we can go ahead and the tab is still there. So we'll take our dolly and we'll hook it in here. We're going to hook our dolly on that edge. There we go. So using the dolly to your benefit is a unique tool in itself, and very, very helpful. Right here we have some high spots, and when I say high spots, there was something in the trunk that must have hit the tail light panel and dented it from the inside. So all I'm going to do, I'm just going to take my dolly and those dents are gone. And then we're going to move down here. We got two imperfections here. I don't know what they are. It looks like something hit it from this side and dented them in, but they're so small that we're not going to use our hammer and dolly on that. And what we'll do, we'll go ahead and put a little Evercoat polyester filler in there. Over here, we really got a big dent in this area right here. So we're going to go ahead and use our hammer and dolly on this situation. And then I'll take my dolly and I'm going to, now this dolly won't work in here. So we got to go get a different dolly. So what we're going to do, we're going to use this finger dolly or spoon dolly. It's got a big flat surface on it. And what that's going to do, that's going to let us get inside here just like that so we can do what we need to do. And it feels like it's coming out. There's a high spot right here. And I want to stick the corner, I want to stick this corner into this corner. So when I hammer that down, it's going to recreate that, that edge. And as I'm holding my dolly into the corner of this, I'm going to go ahead and get this hole right here, this bumper hole. And you can see right there, it's really coming out looking pretty nice. All right, I think our tail panel is ready to do our minor body work on, and then move around to the other side of the car. Yep, there it is, right there. Yep, that's it. That's one of them. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing my final block on our primer job. Now, before I put this primer on, I did all the major body work. Now I'm coming back, and then I primed it. Now I'm coming back, I'm block sanding everything down using hand blocks only. I take that back. I did use my Hutchins Jitterbug air file to break the glaze on the primer, and that's what you're looking at down here. So now what I'm doing, I'm coming back and hand blocking it to perfection, basically. Now another thing that I'm doing, I'm finding miscellaneous imperfections, or should I say small dings and dents, that we couldn't find when I was doing the major body work. And this is one of them right here. So as I was sanding, using my flat block, you can see this is a hard flat block. As I was sanding, I noticed there was a round circle type imperfection here. You can see it's kind of a round circle. And what differs this from this section is that you can clearly see it's round, whereas this is more of a long, oblong, flat area. And the way that we'll check that area is we will use this block here because it's a curve. So I'll take this block to ensure that there's not a ding or dent here. And as you see, as I'm sanding it, all right, it's all going away. But as we continue to sand over here, now one more thing I want to say, this is a polyester high build primer that we're using. One of the reasons I use this on our first prime job is to fill in small imperfections. Now as I'm sanding, I don't know if you can see it, I see a little situation right here where there is a imperfection. And if I run my hand across it, it does feel a little bit wavy, so we're going to pay attention to that and make sure we focus on that here in a few minutes. But we're going to come back here, and here's our little circle that we found right here. Remember that? So I'm going to take my round dowel, I'm sorry, and I'm going to continue to sand that. And you can see that the little circle isn't going away, it's still there. And now, look how the primer's doing. The primer itself is disappearing around the edges. So that's definitely telling us there's a dent right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the surface off. I like to use a brush on it. What that does, that controls the dust flying in the air instead of using an air hose. And then I'm going to go ahead and mix up a small amount of Bondo. And we're almost out here. I can see that. And before I add any of my filler, I'm going to go ahead and rough this area up, making sure and to ensure that we got a nice area to apply our Bondo. And when I do this, I like to build it up a little bit higher and a little wider than normal. And the reason I do that is to make it a one fill job instead of filling it 2 or 3 times. Alright, if you look right here in this area, you can see where I actually found a couple small dings already before I found this one that we showed you how to fix. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the next step, because what we're doing our final prime job. We're finding all our imperfections, which is these right here. And the next step that we're going to do is we're going to get a piece of paint stick. This is going to be my sanding block. Alright, this is my paint stick. And I'm going to take 80 grit on this, just like that. I'm going to go ahead and pull some 80 grit out. Now, I went ahead and wrapped that around the paint stick, just like you see. And that's going to give me a little lip right here to hold on to. Do you see that? That lip right there? So I can hold on to it and use this as my sanding block for my little ding imperfections. Always keep your broom handy so you can clean your sandpaper off. And I noticed that this one's getting into the roll right here, into that curve. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my dowel sander. And looky there. There was a ding right here, now it's gone. Do you see that? That's basically the skinny story of finding the dents that you have, the imperfections that you missed, and repairing them. Now, you can go ahead and apply your filler to your primer if it's a small amount. If you're fixing a large dent or imperfection, whatever you want to call it, technical terms, if you're fixing a large dent, then no, you do not want to put your filler on top of primer. You always want to go down to bare metal. So I'm doing my final block job, and then once I get done doing this and I find all my imperfections, and I'm going to keep my eye on this, I still got to sand this down right here, and it seems like there's an imperfection here, but we won't be using Bondo on this because this is a very minor imperfection. What we'll use on this is some polyester putty. This is Pete, my friend Pete, your friend Pete, showing you that taking your time, using the right tools, let me go ahead and get that, okay? Using the right tools for the job, all right, is going to get you the job that you want. It's very important to learn how to use and apply hand sanding, block sanding to your vehicle or whatever you're working on to get the imperfections out. Okay, here we are. We got the Mustang in the paint booth. Minnie went ahead and taped it all off. And you can see it's had some extensive body work done to it. Had a lot of sheet metal replaced inside and out. And we are now ready to prime it. Now, I took the deck lid and the hood off. I'm going to go ahead and prime those separate. We're using a high build 2K primer on this. I'm going to put 3 full wet coats. So it took Minnie all day to tape it off. She did an awesome job, as you can see. She's the taper girl. You like taping, right?
I do.
That's good, because I hate it. So there's something that we agree on. Okay, so let's get down to business. Let's get her done, and let's do it right.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.